Alright, my people. So, first things first. Before we get into the conversation of Judgement today, we're just going to let things know. We're going to let you know that, we're aware that the IWC can be a very toxic environment.
Very toxic.
Very toxic environment. But we, on this platform, we're not going to thrive over toxicity. I know other platforms love the toxicity, but right on this platform, we're not going to thrive off of that. So, even if you do disagree with what we say, we love the comments, okay? It makes, it's great for the YouTube algorithm. but
being transparent.
but keeping it serious, like we would rather have our comments to be, more respectful, even if you do agree or disagree, whatever.
Right.
Not with just us, somebody else in the comment section. We want to actually create a positive wrestling talking platform with this whole thing. So, just keep your comments to as positive as possible, and don't call us names because you will be benched immediately.
Yeah, we're not accepting any name calling, any rudeness, anything. Like, once again, if you disagree with us, it's perfectly fine if you do not like what we're saying, but we are people behind this microphone. Not only that, but we are people who have multiple interests, multiple things that we like, multiple things we are into. We do not live for this, and therefore it is not worth the time and or energy to be fighting in the comments with people about wrestling. Yeah. We love the sport. We love talking about it. We love the interactions we get with people talking about it. But anything that looks like name calling, anything that looks like just plain disrespect will be deleted. Don't even bother. Don't even waste your time with it.
You will be benched
immediately.
So with that being said, Judge Midday.
Yeah, so we wanted to hop on here and talk about Judgment Day. What's left of it at this point.
Remnants.
Because, honestly, I'm just going to come right out and say it. Judgment Day is dead. It is DOA, honestly. At least that's how I take it. I feel like when it first came out, I mean, I was never behind the idea. I told you why I wasn't.
She's not the biggest Edge fan.
But even besides the Edge fan, it just looked like there was just nothing unique about this faction.
But the crazy, it's just funny because like when we think about it, it's just like it was a group that had people that you really didn't care too much about.
Yeah.
It was Edge. It was Damian Priest. You never really liked Damian Priest like that. And Rhea Ripley's been on. I don't want to say you didn't like Rhea, but like Rhea's just been.
It's just kind of like people that were just like you were just hot and cold with, like. And I feel like the idea of having those people put into a faction to get over or to get more people behind them was a good idea.
That's what Edge's a real mission statement was.
Right, and I felt like I could. Understand why he would want to do that. The problem where I felt like was one, I don't feel like it was an original idea. I feel like the whole dark, what
it was like he was
House of Black type of idea.
It was a lot of Undertaker Ministry of Darkness. I know that's old school, but like, I know if I show her some ministry clips with the Undertaker, she'll get where, Edge got the influence from, even the color, even him sitting on the throne, even like the coats Edge always wore robes and stuff like that. But like the throne, the purple lighting, like everybody knows Undertaker was purple,
Yeah.
Old school Undertaker was purple, that color. And it was just the mixture of the Ministry and the Brood.
Right.
So it's just like, I can see why Edge tried to go the dark route because everybody always said like, Edge is always better as a heel. He did achieve more in his career and have more memorable moments as a heel, I guess. I always prefer Edge as a babyface. I like to cheer Edge. You know what I'm saying? The never gonna stop me, never gonna stop. That's I love that version of Edge as well. That's Ruthless Aggression era. But anyway, that's besides the point. Judgment Day was to me, in the beginning, I was kind of intrigued. I wanted to see where they was going, but you remember they pulled the original heel turn for AJ Styles. They pulled the heel turn during the AJ Styles and Edge feud going into WrestleMania.
Right.
To me, I felt like they didn't need to turn Edge heel. I just felt like the two names spoke for itself.
Yeah.
What I'm saying?
And that match ended up not being very good.
Yeah, it just wasn't not AJ Styles with these dream matches at WrestleMania just doesn't really work. But adding Damian Priest to the mix, I can see why they added Damian Priest because Edge was always a Damian Priest fan.
Right.
And, you know, Damian Priest was just floundering. Like, he was just, like, in mid-card purgatory.
Yeah.
He had just, like, I thought he did decent as the U.S. champion. But then they started to change his gimmick with the roar, the evil side. Like, and, you know, Damian Priest, I gotta say it, he's cool, he's hip. I can't tell you what I usually finish with, but he's cool. He's a guy that loves the nightlife and a cold beverage, okay? So, I didn't like where they was starting to go with Damian Priest's character because, you know, he was, like, Damian Priest is to me, like, he's a cool guy that I would like to hang out with.
Right.
And then they started to change up his character and they started to tweak a little bit unnecessarily. Mm-hmm. Then they started changing his music, which I felt like the Archer of Infamy, him coming out shooting bows and arrows and stuff with fire and him doing that little random smacking thing in the ring. I thought it was kind of cool. She never really liked it. She always was like, what is he doing? The crazy thing is
a lot happening.
The crazy thing is when she looked at him smacking the mat, she was just like, yo, what is he doing? And then like literally the next week they changed his entrance. And I'm just like, yo, I like the dum 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 dum, and he's shooting the bows and arrows. But anyway, you know, you got Damian Priest, which I can see why Edge put him in the group. Yeah. Because, like I said, Edge was always a Damian Priest fan. And I was a little intrigued on where this was going to go. You know, was it going to enter the tag team division? Or was it going to have that third guy in the group that was going to have Edge be the main event guy? And then you're going to have the two others go for maybe like the tag team titles, you know?
Honestly, my thing with the whole Damian Priest Edge matchup with this gimmick was, you know, not being discrimination against like age or anything like that, but I just felt like they seemed a little bit too old for what the gimmick was giving me. Like, I feel like the gimmick was given very much early 2000s Evanescence, Hot Topic type of vibe. Like, even with you saying like it was kind of like, you know, the Undertaker, like, you know, I felt like it was a very dated gimmick. And I feel like a lot of people are not going to like that, but I feel like the gimmick is kind of dated, and it seems like people or creative is like older people who are trying to, I guess, appeal to a younger crowd, but the way you're going about it, it's just very, very dated. So for the get-go, I was just like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it with the gimmick. And also, I feel like Judgment Day, to this day, I really don't even know why they exist. Like, they kind of explained it a little bit.
They wanted to give judgment and punishment to people, okay?
Yeah, like, I feel like they kind of explained it last week when they were talking about why they did this, and they wanted, you know, to get back at the people who I guess didn't believe in them or didn't support them or whatever it was. Fine, cool, whatever. But I feel like if you want to get back at people or in storyline, that's what you're trying to do. The people you're targeting doesn't really make sense. Like who are you trying to target? Like, I didn't really understand what the formation of the group was. So far, like, the only addition that really made sense to me was Rhea. Like, I feel like they gave Rhea kind of like a losing streak, and that's why she wanted to turn heel. And
I can see why she had frustration.
I can see why, but Damian Priest, I feel like his storyline wise, I don't feel like he really had a motivation to go dark, because like you said, he was already turning heel. So it's like during Judgment Day was for the sake of what? Just being even more evil, being more bad?
Damian Priest had more momentum than Rhea did. Rhea, even with her being the tag team champion, it was just like she had no momentum. She went through partner after partner. She went with Nikki TR ASH and Liv Morgan. So it's like she went through a series of partners that failed, and it just, everybody knows that it's not just in Rhea's song, "This is my brute." Like, Rhea is brutality. When she was in NXT UK, when she came to the regular NXT, she was brutality. You know what I'm saying? And then when she got to the main roster, she ran into Charlotte Flair, and she was never
brick wall.
She was never the same. Even last year when she won the title at WrestleMania against Asuka, who did they feed her to? Here goes the Android Queen, and Charlotte comes out, and like Rhea never really recovered.
Yeah.
You know, that's one woman.
Right.
Charlotte Flair's one woman.
And even before that, because I feel like, you know, we was at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And when we saw her with Asuka, like her match against Asuka, it was like the win felt very anticlimactic. Like, I felt like that win, I think most people kind of predicted it was coming. Like, more so because
we kind of knew, you know.
Yeah. Asuka run was at its end, you know. So, I feel like when Rhea won, even when we was there, it was just like, people were cheering, but it was just like, it was kind of flat, you know.
It was a flat win.
Yeah, nobody really too much cared. And then she held the belt, and I felt like didn't really, you know, take off. But even, I feel like her, in a funny way, her and Bianca kind of had the same problem. After the win, it was like this big high at WrestleMania, but then the following weeks and months afterwards was kind of really a low point. So yeah, Rhea had a reason to be upset. Especially because it seemed like every time she's getting momentum, it feels like it hits a brick wall. Like, I feel like even though she's not really supposed to be in a tag team, I feel like her and Liv was the one that I was actually excited about, actually excited to see, because I felt like it kind of added this element of unpredictability, which I was talking to you yesterday about how I feel like women's wrestling, a lot of times it doesn't get where it needs to be, because
that's a whole different episode.
Yeah, that's another episode, but there's this element of, you know, surprise that sometimes is just not there. And so I felt like Rhea and Liv going up against Sasha and Naomi actually had potential to either one. I wouldn't be too upset. Like, I was going for Sasha and Naomi, but regardless of who won, like, I wouldn't have been upset. The other two was like, I didn't care about. But I felt like when they stopped that whole thing, when they was turning Liv and Rhea against each other, first of all, I'm really sick and tired. And if I'm sick and tired as a casual fan, then y'all must be dead over it. But I'm so sick and tired of the whole tag teams getting together, turning on each other,
just to fight each other.
Yeah,
it's such. You talk about dated.
Yeah,
that is such a dated, repetitive formula that, as an old school fan, I didn't seen it all. We didn't seen all the iconic breakups, not the actual iconics, but we seen, you know, the big breakups. We've seen the random team break, but it's just like, you know, at this point, it's just like we know, like, just like. People just waiting for, you know, RK Bro to break up.
Yeah, but people was asking for the RK breakup way before than I think it should, like a while ago. And I was like, I don't understand why
y'all they was like 3 months in. It's like, yeah, we waiting for them to break up.
I'm just like, why are y'all rooting for these breakups?
And they pulling the top merchandise sales too.
Yeah, and Sasha and Naomi, everybody's like, yeah, Sasha's gonna turn on Naomi because Sasha's turned on every single tag team partner. But I'm just like, it needs to stop. But anyway, Rhea's the only one that I really felt like belonged in this group. And funny enough, I actually do like the fact that Finn is in there now. Like, the turning on Edge, people thought like, yeah, this is like the basically the group is dead. It's never going to be the same without Edge.
It's not going to have that feel.
Yeah, I felt like the group was dead on arrival. As soon as I saw it, I was just like, this looks very, the mountain of omnipotence. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Dave, you know words.
I know what omnipotence means, but I feel like, what is the goal
here? He's on the mountain. He's looking down upon everybody. He's going to pass judgment and he's going to pass judgment on each and every one of you disgusting sheep.
All I know is that one thing I hate is when there's a faction that comes together and makes it seem like they're going to be this big deal, and all they do is spend all their time picking on one person. I feel like with him, with Judgment Day, all they was doing was picking on AJ. And then it became, you know, Finn.
Then they started picking on Liv.
Right. It's like this very weird thing. But, I mean, because you know what they did it with? They did it with Retribution. Which I had a lot more hope for.
Shut it down.
Well, I kind of had more hope for Retribution than I did for this group, to be honest.
I like the Retribution. I like the whole thing when it first started, but... Man, the thing with Retribution, they didn't even really give it a shot because...
They went nowhere fast.
Because the people that was actually in that group, when you broke them down as wrestlers, like there was some fire wrestlers. You had Dominic Dijakovic, who was Teabag. You had Shane Thorne, who was Slapjack. You got Mustafa. You had... Well, I don't know too much about Dio Madden, but I seen a couple clips of him in NXT. He was pretty okay. And you had Mia Yim. Like, you had...
You had some people.
And then you had Mercedes Martinez, but she was in there for literally, I don't want to say a cup of coffee. She walked in the door and just walked right back out. She didn't even stay.
Simpsons meme.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, she literally headed right in and she walked right back
out. But I feel like with Retribution, it was clear that they had no plans for them. After the third week where everybody was wondering who Retribution was and they was still tearing up the WWE locker room and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, once you see something happen 3-4 weeks in a row, it's pretty much clear that there's no plan for it.
No, it's usually like
they're just trying to drag out time until the next
pay-per-view. Yeah, I mean, they kept doing it because it's usually like one of those things, because like when the Nexus came around, when the Shield first came around, I would say more of the Nexus. The Nexus would come, they would wreak havoc, beat up just random people everywhere.
Right.
You know, and then it came to that point with John Cena, which literally became like a terrible decision. John Cena, the conquering hero. I mean, at the time I was cheering for John Cena because I was a kid. But John Cena, the conquering hero, came. You look for that one person who's going to finally bring everybody, whether they're enemies or allies. It's like, we're coming together for the locker room.
Right. Okay,
it's not, we might hate each other, but we love the WWE, and we're putting a stop to this now. Tonight. So, yeah, so the Retribution thing, that was just a straight fail, though.
Yeah,
but
it was so sad.
But Judgment Day is like, you know, I don't know where it goes from here. Now, the heavy rumor going around. Well, the first rumor they were saying like, you know, they took Edge out because Cody was hurt and they needed a top babyface. But then they said the real reason came out and said that Edge didn't like the fact that WWE wanted them to do supernatural stuff like the Bray Wyatt Fiend and Hocus Pocus crap,
which makes no sense because every time they do that, they put a stop to it.
Yeah, but they kind of dabbled into it when Damian Priest first came into the group because he had a match with AJ, and then like midway through the match, the lights go out, and then all you see is Damian Priest and this vampire. They zooming in on his eyes, and the lights go out, and then they went to the next segment.
Right.
So they tried to dabble in the supernatural. I don't know if Edge was like, yo, I don't like that. That was kind of trash. And then they stopped doing it. And then they want to bring it back. And then Edge was like, yo, I don't like it. You remember what they did with Damian Priest? It ain't look cool, bro. It looked mad trash.
Right.
And that's how they got rid of Edge. And then they put Finn in it.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer CGI.
Yeah, they put Finn in the group. But you know, Edge is out now. He's going back to the Rated R Superstar. He's going to come out with his on this day. I see clearly. He's going to run back. I'm waiting to see what his explanation is on why he's a babyface again. After he done called everybody sheep. I'm better than you. You're all idiots. I'm on the mountain of omnipotence. All this stuff. I'm waiting to see what his
is that what Damian Priest was saying? That, we're not supposed to be Edge told us not to take orders. And then he's giving us orders. And stuff
we
like that.
are all equals.
I'm like, okay, I mean, if that's the point, but like I said, going back to whether is this going to be the next Retribution, is this going to be as big of a fail? I don't think it is. No,
Retribution, they was dead on. At least Judgment, they had some big wins. They had a big win at the last pay-per-view.
Yeah. After a while, it was like all Retribution was doing, like I said, that whole bullying one person, all they was doing was bullying Ricochet. All they was doing was bullying Ricochet, burying them. We thought Ricochet was going to join, and then
you remember when they had him crying on Raw Talk? That was different. Ooh.
Gosh, but it's crazy because both of them were him and Mustafa. Mustafa had this really heartfelt promotion as well too, and it was just like, man, you could see that he really wanted to make it something, and that's the sad thing about Mustafa is that he really wants to make the things that he's in succeed and do well, but it's like.
A lot of people wanted him in Judgment Day, but it just didn't really make no sense.
I feel like it would be a little bit repetitive, but I wouldn't be against it.
I mean, it was either Tommaso Ciampa. The three people was Tommaso, Finn, and Mustafa.
I think the real question you have to ask is, what is the goal here? Are they trying to get some? Like, are they going for titles? I mean, of course, eventually everyone's going for the title, but what is the real goal here? What is it that they're trying to accomplish here? They're trying to get their people over, but is that happening? Is that happening? Why does this make sense? Like, why does this faction exist? And like I said, the only person I think it makes sense for right now is Rhea and a little bit of Finn. But overall, yeah, there needs to be. I
don't really see maybe like a couple, like 2-3 more months, and then everybody's just going to get disbanded. Or the easiest thing, you can just draft separate people to like different parts of the brands. But,
right. But I would be surprised if this goes past SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't think it. Will it make it to something? Like, ooh, we don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so that was our thoughts on Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
Judgment Day. You know, I don't know where it's gonna go, but we shall see. So let us know what you think. Keep the comments positive, my peoples. Right. We're out.